So during today's session, we're going to spend some time learning about leadership styles. And so, why do you think it's important to learn about leadership styles? Anyone can unmute and share.
To not disturb others, to help others in some kind of way.
Yes, that's good. Any other?
Um,
Um,
I
to know,
think that it's
oh,
important.
I was gonna say to
This
know
will
how to be a good leader.
To know about how to be a good leader. Yes, it's so important to
can you
learn
hear me,
about.
Tom?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I wonder if my mic works right, but
We
I
can
just
hear
wanted to
you.
add that I think it's important for you to learn your leadership style, because the way that other people are able to navigate dealing with others and leading others will not fit you. So we can't all do the same thing and get away with the same results. So it's important to know what works best for you.
Very good. So it's important. All you're all correct. It's about being self-aware, right? Self-awareness. It allows you to respect and appreciate for diversity, right? Because we all have different styles. Um, it allows us to make group work more successfully, right? If you learn how the different styles of everyone within the group and how best to navigate that. I heard you guys use that word. And it's about focusing on our behavioral tendencies. How are we wired? How do we influence others? How do we make decisions? So today we're going to at the end of today's workshop, we hope that you'll enhance a self-awareness and social awareness by identifying your leadership styles, and we'll be using a fun way to doing that, right? We're going to be using the animal matrix. I know earlier somebody said, wow, this should be interesting. What's the connection between animals and leadership style? Well, you're going to learn about that. There's so much that we can learn from the animal kingdom. You'll be able to develop and articulate strategies to work best with different personalities slash leadership styles that's most like you or least like yourself. And then another learning objective is you learn how to articulate your leadership style in an interview setting. When you're asked, what is your leadership style like? How would you define your leadership style? That you will be able to can respond to that question in any interview setting. Okay. All right. So basically, our time together this afternoon is to learn more about yourself and how best to work with people who are most and least like you. So I just wanted some ground rules for our session. During the leadership style assessment utilizing the matrix, you're going to be forced to make some choices. There's no wrong or right, but we'll go more into that, right? I want you to be present during this session, especially during the assessment piece, because you don't have that on your handout. The prompts are going to be on the screen, and then you'll have to respond to those prompts utilize your handout so that at the end you'll be able to know which style is which style best suits you. What is your behavioral tendencies? Which style do you tend to exhibit more often than not when you are in a team setting? Okay, so I want you to be present. Don't just log in and then doing other things. We want active participation. We will have a breakout group activity. We'll have a large group discussion. We want you to be actively engaged in the process. And of course, to be respectful of everyone's time, be respectful in terms of the feedback that you're given. And we hope that you will take something away from what you have learned today and apply those to your leadership experiences. Okay. And we want you to have fun. Fun. Okay. So, how would you define leadership style?
I would
Anyone?
define, yeah, I would define leadership style as your way of being a leader, your way or my way.
Okay, way of being a leader. Good. Anyone would like to add to that?
I would define leadership style as like the decisions one makes like the leadership decisions one makes and how they lead your followers.
Okay, great. So leadership style, it has to do with your behavior, okay? Characteristic behavior or behavioral patterns or behavioral tendencies that leaders adopt when you're directing, guiding, influencing the behaviors of others, okay? Or managing a group. So those are the behaviors. It's how you make decisions, how you interact with people, interpersonal communication, right? That's what leadership styles. And we all, and so we all have, leadership style that we have a tendency to exhibit. So then my next question to you is, what kind of leadership style do you use most often when you're responsible for coordinating an activity or group project? Think about that. What behavior? How do you approach a task? What is your style? Does anyone know? I want
Um,
to just
uh,
guess.
I'm not sure if this is a style, but usually I try delegating tasks to
Okay.
people.
Yes, that's a part of your style. Okay. Anybody else want to share what they think their leadership style is?
Um,
Um, oh, sorry, go ahead.
you're fine. Thank you. Leading by example.
Leading by example. Okay, what does that mean, leading by example, Victoria? How do you demonstrate that in your style?
So you to me you don't just tell people to do stuff. So you do it with them and guide them in the process.
Okay, so you have a guiding style, a collaborative style, leading by example. Great. Okay, and I can't see who's the next person who's going to speak. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that I'm usually more serious. I don't joke around as much, and I also try to listen to everyone's opinions instead of just picking one thing and just running with it. I want to hear other people's inputs as well.
Okay, all right. So somebody has a kind of a collaborative approach. Okay, very good. Um, so my next question to you, is it possible for someone to have more than one leadership style?
Yes.
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 Okay, someone who has not yet responded, go ahead and explain, elaborate. Why do you say yes?
Because from the download that you
The
sent us,
handout.
yeah, the handout of the lions, under the lion, the doer, control, and leadership style, I believe that I have some of these characteristics, like the must correct the wrongs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was been a PTA executive board meeting since 2000. Member since 2003, and
Okay.
now that it's 20. When I came back in 2015, then
Uh-huh.
I had this must correct the wrongs. When I would see them, doing something wrong, it's like I had to correct that.
Okay.
I had to just basically let them know that, no, it's not supposed to be done like that. It's supposed to be done like, X, Y, and Z. I also, I guess under one of the characteristics, this, I wouldn't say that I love to be in charge, but um, would like to, I guess, support
Okay.
and be more like an advocate and help. And I guess sometimes I did get discouraged, but I still had, the hope there that, things would, get better with the, correcting of the wrong doing the procedures.
Okay.
Result oriented, yes, I was looking for the results from, my
So,
advisor and
so it
help.
seemed from what, sorry, so it seemed from what you're saying is that some of the behaviors, it tends to be more in line with the lion, and that's good. Benis, I see you have your hand up. Thanks for sharing. That was good.
Thank you.
Benis, I see you have your hand up. You want to share something?
Yeah. I just wanted to say really quickly to this point that I think that it's possible for one's leadership style to change based on their audience.
All right.
That's one way. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, good point, Benis. Gabrielle, what about you? You have your hands out.
Oh, that's kind of what I was just going to say.
Yes.
You're a very versatile kind of person.
Mhm.
And kind of learn the language of who you're networking to. You know, you can kind of adapt to your audience and just find different ways to communicate, you know, your point, and lead them in the right direction based off of, you know, how your audience is or what kind of environment you're in. So it was kind of just what Dennis was saying.
Yes, very good. I agree with you. So yes, it is possible for someone to have more than one leadership style, but we tend to sometimes have more of a dominant leadership style, right? That we're most normally wired. But as Benis and Gabrielle indicated, sometimes you might have to switch your leadership style based on the group that you're in. And sometimes your leadership style evolve. Those of you who know me, there was a time when I was younger, believe it or not, my style was more of an introvert. Can you believe that? Can you picture me? Those of you who know me now as an introvert. But over time, because of the leadership roles that I've been in, I had to adopt, and my style has evolved over time. Sometimes based on how we communicate, some of us based on our leadership style might be very direct in our communication, but maybe based on who we are with, sometimes direct communication doesn't work with everyone. So that's called situational leadership, right? In that sometimes our leadership style changes or gets adapted based on the situation and the group that we're working with. Got it? Okay, very good. So we are going to, I want you all now to pull out your handout because we're going to start the process of working to identify what our animal type is, which will indicate our leadership style. And we're going to do a little practice first. So make sure that you all have your handout and you're ready to go. Have a pen or pencil, and I will provide you with the instruction. So we're looking at the characteristic of animals is a fun way to think about leadership style, and it's a good way to learn something about ourselves. So we'll put some statements up on the screen, and you will assess which statement is more like you. So we're going to practice now, okay? And then we'll get into the real assessment. So you should be have your matrix graph. We're going to do some graphing, okay? So that we're ready to go. And I hope everyone has the handout. The link is posted in the chat so you can download that. Okay. So I'm going to practice. So this is my little virtual pencil that you can see on the screen. Okay. So, okay. So there's a statement. I don't want to know about my animal tendencies. Not at all. Or I'm excited to learn about my animal type. So if I'm not really excited about learning about my animal tendencies or my leadership style, I will go over into the axis that's to the west. Do you see that? And you'll go one box and put an X there. But if I'm really don't want to know about my animal stuff, I'll even go over two boxes, right? But if I'm excited this afternoon to learn about my animal type, then I'm going to go towards the east and check a box. And I'm going to go closer, go over two boxes because I'm really excited and stay in that quadrant, the pink quadrant. You got it? So from west to north. Okay. So what's my answer? I am very excited. You see? Not just excited. It's more, I really relate to that statement. I'm excited to learn about my animal type, so I put an X in the second box. Do you see that? Okay. All right. Let's do another practice, and then we'll get into the real thing. So now it is from the top to the bottom. And what it is, and my So do I prefer salty snacks? And my control is covering the bottom portion. Can you guys see the bottom portion?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, so what is on the south of the axis? Prefer salty snacks, and what's the other option?
Sweet snack.
Sweet snacks, or salty snacks to sweet snacks. Okay, so do I prefer salty snacks or sweet snacks? Well, I prefer sweet snacks over salty snacks. You see, I put an X in that quadrant. Okay, you got it? Wait, sorry. Okay, so now are you guys ready to practice?
I don't really understand the second one.
Okay. So I prefer sweet snacks, okay? And so it's from top to bottom. So I either would put my pencil, the X, up at the top in the north, in okay, in the pink quadrant, or down in the bottom, because it was top and the bottom, okay? When I go, you're going to get some statements that's going to be over on the yellow side, or the pink side, or the green side, or the blue side, okay? Was that clear? Okay, let's begin, and you'll catch on. I'll show you, okay? All right, so are you guys ready? So the first statement is, so the yellow or the pink, which one of this statement is more like you or really like you? Achievement is a priority or acceptance is a priority? So if for you in general, more often than that, achievement is more important to you than being accepted, then you would put your X over in the yellow box. If you're more about acceptance, then you'll put it in the pink box. Good?
Excuse me, should we have printed this out? I mean, because I don't know how to enable.
Yes, you should have printed it out. So if you didn't get a chance, what I would ask you to do, maybe on a paper that you have, to just quickly draw a box and graph, and then just do it until when you're able to download it. So that's why it's very important that you we always send out the handouts before the workshop so that you can download and have it to follow along. But I know sometimes things don't happen, okay? So just to make sure, always check your email before, and I always send an email, then I send a text reminder to go check your email. But just in the interest of that, just quickly draw a box, okay? And then you can just put the X's there.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to print it out right now. I hope this.
Okay. Okay. All right. Are you guys ready for the next one? Okay. Are you more cautious? Are you more cautious, intellectual, or serious? Are you more warm, emotional, lighthearted? Which description is more like you? And again, you can go over two boxes, this is really like you. So which quadrant, which axis do you fit on the most? So you tend to be, and this is a forced choice. And this is not say, oh yeah, but sometimes I'm warm, but then so I'm intellectual. No, it's your tendency. Okay, so more often than not, I'm more of a cautious intellectual and I'm serious, or I'm warm, emotional, lighthearted.
So Miss McIntosh, are we like doing West and East now?
We're doing West and East. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go again. Do you tend to act independently or indifferent to the feelings of others? So meaning you're not a feeling person, you may act independently, or do you often involve with the feelings of others? You may be self-indulgent and sometimes attention-seeking in terms of your style, your nature. Again, I also want to say it's not good or bad. This is not, versus this is good or this is bad. These are behavioral tendencies because we're all wired in certain ways, and it's how we are. There's so many things that shape who we are, and we could get into that. That's another session about cultural orientation, right? So think about that.
Miss McIntosh, someone asked if when answering this question, should we think about ourselves or as a team?
No. This is all about you. You as a person, as a leader, the behaviors that the characteristics that is most like you. So not about in a group. All of this is about you. Some self-reflection, thinking about your style, how you usually conduct yourself when in a group or leading, even your dating relationship, your family, any relationship, you know. So in that, do you usually are you more wired, or your preference or your style is to act independent of others? So meaning you can work more in small group, independent, right? You tend to be indifferent to the feelings of others. And then some of us some people are more feeling, right? They're more involved in the feeling of others. I want to know how you're feeling. So a lot of times this is about, okay, it's get the work done. It's a task, right? Versus, okay, I want to know how you're feeling. Okay. So, okay. Are you ready? We'll go on. Okay. Do you tend to be more precise? Are you kind of a no nonsense person? Do you tend to be critical in terms of a critical thinker, thinking through things? Do you tend to be more efficient? Or are you more usual kind of casual, playful, more informal than formal, maybe dramatic, etc. So I want you to think about which of these behavior, do you tend to be impulsive or open, right? So okay, so which one is more like you? And so you'll place the X in the box um towards in the direction closest to where that you feel this statement is more like me in general. So give it some thought. You tend to be very focused on precision. You're no nonsense. You tend to be critical, and you also believe in being efficient. You tend to be efficient. Are you more casual, playful? Can be dramatic, impulsive, and open. Very open.
So where am I putting, I'm kind of confused.
You're
Towards
putting it, so it's either the West. If you are more casual, playful, dramatic, you're going to go towards the East, and your X is going to be in the pink box. If you're more precise, no nonsense, critical, your X is going to be in the yellow box. Right now we're going from west to east and east to west.
If I put where, I mean, am I putting it on the very bottom line of the West?
Anywhere. Okay, so if you tend to be more casual, playful, dramatic, impulsive, and open, you're going to put your X anywhere in that pink box.
Oh, anywhere.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
Yes.
But how do I know that that X represent that? I mean, do I write something on the side?
No. You're just going to put the X. Right now, you just put in X's
Oh,
based
okay.
on the responses. Okay?
All right.
Yes. All right. Move to the next. For you, is this more like you? Truth is more important than empathy? Or in general, for you, your style is empathy is more important than facts? Which statement, which description, which behavior is more like you?
And if empathy is, I mean, if fact is more like me, I'm putting that in the West
If
or the East.
yeah, if empathy is more like you're going to put that more into the pink, towards the pink direction, because we're now working west to east.
Okay, so if I'm a fact person, then I'm going to put it in the West.
if you're more, if empathy is more important than facts, for you, if you're a facts person, it's, you know, you're more about the truth, right? Facts. That's important to you. Then you're going to be more over in the yellow box, right? In the West.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter which box, I just put it in the yellow box.
Right.
Okay,
And if it's really like you, put 2 X's. If it's just like you, 1, but if it's really like you, put 2 X's anywhere in that, in the box, the quadrant that is close, that's closest to you. That's more like you. Okay? Okay. When making a tough decision, logical factors are the most important. Again, it's kind of like you're more of a logical person when you have to make some decisions. Or you tend to be about the heart? The heart is more important. You kind of wired in where you're more of a feeling person, and it's about, you know, the heart is most important to you. You kind of go by your heart, and it's less about just the facts and being logical.
and which way would I go? If
Again,
I'm,
we're west to east. We'll have statements that will go north to south next. Yes.
if I agree with this when making a tough decision, logical factors are the most important. I would go, if that's me, I would go to the east.
When making tough decisions, logical factors, then you're going towards the west, towards the statement west.
If it applies to me, I go towards the
Yes.
state. I mean, to the
You
yellow.
go to west. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So now we're going to go north to south. Okay. And you're going to be placing, if you tend to be more active, ambitious, or personable versus reserve, or you place your X in the box, so it's north to south. Are you more up in the pink, are you more up at the top in the west to east, close up to the north, or are you down at the bottom? So you're going to be in the green or the blue section. So we're now going north to south. Okay. So if you tend to be ambitious and personable, you'll put your X. And is it more, you put it closer up to the north if that's for you, or down in the the green/pink area if you're more reserved. Okay. Okay. Do you tend to talk more than ask questions, or you tend to ask more questions than to talk? Which one fits you the most? Okay. Do you tend to take a stand and make positions clear to others, or do you tend to express moderate opinions, tend to be more cooperative, and let others take initiative?
And if I agree with that,
Then you're more in the southern quadrant. So you put that in the if it's more like you'll go over, you could, maybe into the green box. If it's really like you, I guess you'll be in the green box. If it's less like you, it's like you, then you can stay over kind of in the blue area someplace there, but down in the bottom area, that's where. The next statement, you enjoys working in group, or you tend to really more of an independent worker? Don't really like to work in groups. Your preference would be, you can, but your preference would be to work alone. Okay. The next one is, you tend to act before you think, or do you think before you act? Do you prefer to have a lot of good friends, or do you tend to, have fewer friends? And I don't know if it's my control is blocking. I'm going to hide my floating controls for now so you can see. Prefer to have a few good friends. Okay, let's move along. Do you tend to feel exhilarated and excited before public speaking? Or are you more apprehensive, not as excited about public speaking? Okay. Are you ready for your results?
Yes.
Okay. So, where are most of your X's lined up? Where do you have most of your X's? Which cluster, which quadrant for most of your X's?
Green,
So who
yellow.
says green? So you tend to be an owl, or is that more of your owl? So you tend to have an analyzing style. And we'll kind of dig deeper into that. Okay. Is anyone up into in the promoting?
Me.
Okay, all right. Are there
Me too.
lions out there?
Me, lion.
Okay. Are there any golden retrievers?
Miss McIntosh, I'm not sure if I did this right, but I kind of have like, okay, never mind. Okay.
Where are most of your X's? Where are most of your X's? Which quadrant do they tend to land in?
Okay, mine is
Golden retriever.
Okay, all right. So if you're a golden retriever, you tend to have a supporting leadership style. Okay, so you tend to be more introverted but higher on the feeling. Okay, if you are the monkey, you have a promoting leadership style. The monkeys are promoters, promoting, and so you tend to be extroverted, but you're also big on the feeling. And if you're the lion, I'm a lion, and we'll go deep into more what about that is. You're extroverted, and you're big thinkers, thinking through things, sometimes overthinking things. We'll talk about that, right? So you have a controlling leadership style. And then if you're the owl, you're introverted, but you're big thinkers as well. So you're more on the analyzing leadership style. So let's dig deeper into that. Okay. So the lion is controlling. Let's talk about some of the characteristics of the controlling leadership style. And I want to say again, it's that these styles are bad, or one style is better than the other, right? There are things that are strengths in each of those styles that brings to a group, and then there will be areas or things to think about that might need improvement or need to be conscious of adjusting when we are working in a group. Because if we're not conscious of it, we can be ineffective. You got it? Okay.
Yes.
So characteristics of the controlling leadership style, the line, tend to be doers. Okay. And here are some very result oriented, tend to be dynamic and active, and exude confidence. They exude confidence. Talk about earlier, must correct wrongs. They're the kind of person, if there's a pink elephant in the room, they're going to uncover the pink elephant, right? They're the ones who will speak up in a group if something, might be bothering other members of the group, or things are not getting addressed. They're not going to be afraid to speak up about it and to address it. So when we go back on campus, God willing, if you guys are still here, you will see in my office, I have a pink beanie elephant on my computer, because I know that tends to be my tendency, because I'm wired that way, and that's a part of my leadership style. So if there's a situation, and I will reflect and say, is it my responsibility to uncover this pink elephant, or do I let somebody else do that? You got it? Because sometimes if you're always the one uncovering the pink elephant and correcting wrongs, it sometimes can become like, here we go, right? People see it in a negative way. Sometimes it can be seen. So the lions, the controlling leadership style, tend to be compulsive need for change. You need to change. You can't keep operating the same way. You need to change. They're not easily discouraged, and they tend to be independent and self-sufficient. They don't need a lot of guidance. They take it and go. And I would say my leadership style too. When I join an organization or a team, I jump right in. People forget that I'm new to the group or new to the team because I just jump right in. Okay, so that's the lion, the doers, the controlling leadership style. Love to be in charge, strong-willed, and very decisive. And the platinum rules for the lion is you respect our opinion and you recognize our motive. Okay, so recognition is big for us, and you're going to respect our opinion. That's the platinum rule for the lions. Okay. The promoting style, which is the monkey. The monkeys are the communicators in the group. The promoting leadership style. They're the communicators. They love to talk. They're not shy from talking. They're very sincere at the heart, and they display emotions freely. You know how they're feeling about things. They're not going to hide their emotion. Victoria, I see you're smiling. You're really relating to that?
Yes.
They have a great sense of humor. They tend to be very cheerful. And they're very curious people, very curious in their style. Those are the promoting leadership style. And by the way, you need lions in your group. You need the monkeys. You need the doers, right? You need to communicate. It's a balance of all of these styles, right? They love to be involved. And when we talk about tendency, now they might, and so sometimes they don't know how to say no, right? And they might have to manage their responsibility and know their limits, but they love to be involved. Yes, okay. They tend to be very creative, and they're very much big about getting others involved. That's the promoting leadership style, and the characteristics of that. And their platinum rule is embrace our spontaneous personality. We're just very spontaneous people, and we want you to embrace it about us. Appreciate us for our spontaneity, our personality, okay? All right. The owls. This is the analyzing leadership style. And the characteristics of the analyzing leader. The owls are the thinkers, right? So the lion are the doers. The monkeys are the communicators in the group, and the owls are the thinkers. They're the ones in the group who tends to be introverted and quiet. And so you don't just move over them, lions. You might want to stop and ask the owls, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts? And boy, they're insightful. They're not going to be the ones to just be up talking a lot. But when you do ask them what they thought, they always present some insightful things to share. So they're deep and thoughtful. They're genius prone, and they're serious, and they're very purposeful in their approach. They have a deep understanding for life, and they're intuitively creative, right? They're thinking inside, and they're intuitively creative, and you need the owls in your group. And so don't just dismiss them within a group, okay? And that's where you need your monkeys to pull out the owls in the group. You don't have any monkeys in the group, the owls, the line just keep going, right? Do you see that? So we need to have the owls in the group, and they have so much to contribute to the success of your team if you allow them and you pull them in, and to really pick their brain as to what they're thinking about. Sometimes though, they have a tendency not to like to take chances. So they're kind of risk avert, they're not really big on taking chances. There's a tendency of the owls. They tend to be withheld and reserved. and they tend to be self-sacrificing and idealistic in their approach and when they're in a group. These are kind of the behaviors that are exhibited by those who have a tendency to be the analyzing leadership style. Okay. And their platinum rule is be happy and patient about our compromising decision. They're big about compromising and things like that. So be happy, be patient, right? Okay. The supporting or golden retrievers, the supporting style. Again, sorry. Let's see, I messed up on this slide here. Let's see. Okay, so I'll tell you. So the golden retriever, the supporting style, their strength, they're team players. And I'll tell you a little bit more about they're the listener in the group. Okay, so there's an Aaron, the listener in the group. So they're the support. That's the supporting style. Your golden retrievers are the listeners in the group. So the lions are the doers, right? The lions are your doers, okay? And your golden retrievers, they're the listeners in the group. And they tend to often hide their true feelings, and they have a high level of patience, and they're usually very under control. They're emotionally steady, well balanced, and consistent, and they're happily reconciled to life. Those are your the golden retrievers. Okay, they're able to absorb criticism, so they take feedback and criticism well. They're easygoing and relaxed. And you said, listen to us, but respect our need for space and time. They don't like to be all up with a lot of people around them and just but respect their space and respect their time, but we want you to listen to us. Okay, so they are the listeners in the group, and those are your the golden retrievers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to I have some reflection question, and I'm going to break you up into breakout group for about 10 minutes or so. And now you should be referring to your second handout, and I'll put some of the question, but I'll tell it to think of. I want you to, knowing these characteristics of your leadership style, to kind of in your group, kind of what do you see as the strengths? And maybe what are things, the limitation that you might need to work on or be mindful of when you're in a group based on your leadership style. Okay, so I will break you up and into your leadership, into your group. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oops. Okay. All right, so I'm going to break you guys. I'm going to do the groups, and then I'm going to just pause the recording. Pause recording. Okay, so who is the spokesperson for the Lion Group, the controlling leadership style? Who would like to, what are some of the strengths that you guys identified?
Yes, Ms. McIntosh, it was me, Alexia. We were speaking about a variety of items, but one that really stuck out was that as doers, we, well, it seems before others that we like to be bossy. However,
Okay.
I think that we can use this as a strength in order to help action and take action in projects and assignments, so that when working with others, while we have the contribution of those who analyze, such as the owls, the thinkers, then we can actually help take action with what they are implementing.
Okay, all right, great. How about the monkey, the promoting style?
Yeah, so for the monkeys, we realize that our strengths come from really our spontaneity. Like that's one of our greatest strengths, is that we're really willing to think outside of the box. And I think all of us agreed that that was a trait that we all had more than the others. Also, our imagination is definitely one of our primary highlighting strengths. Weaknesses wise, it was definitely attention to details and planning, and also follow-up communication.
Yes.
I think we all agree that we struggle in that area.
Okay. All right. How about the owls, the analyzing style, the thinkers of the group?
Yes. So our strengths are that we are very critical thinkers. We like to nitpick everything, try to figure out the nooks and crannies out and lay it out all in our heads, how it's going to be planned before it gets to even the blueprint, or maybe even when the plan is executed. We are great planners. We definitely like to like for example, I don't have it now, but I do have a planner, and it's all just scribble scrabble of stuff that I need to do. We are very rational, very very detailed, which is tied to being a critical thinker. Very very organized. We like everything laid out and not everything all spontaneous and everything. It has to be in order or else. We are very thoughtful. We like to think about what we're going to do before we do it. We're also thinking about others, and how they would think about the projects and everything. And we're also very reserved. Weaknesses. We are very indecisive, and I can definitely speak on that. Hold on. Indecisive. We overthink, and sometimes we don't. Well, most times we don't like to take risk. We just want to let the other person, do it before we try to do it. We're like, you can go first, and then we'll just fall behind you. And work on is just being open with our thoughts and ideas more to people, and rely on our teammates more instead of working alone.
Okay. And then maybe at some point we just have to make a decision, right?
Yes, at some point.
Right. Okay, great. And Mitanya, you're the golden retriever. So what did you identify as your strengths?
Yeah, so has strengths I'd say golden retrievers has is we're good listeners. Like sometimes people just want their opinions to be heard, so it's important to listen to what people have to say in order to understand them better. So another strength I'd say we have is that we're able to absorb criticism, so that we let it really affect us in a way that we get outside of what we're supposed to do. So
you don't take a lot of things so personal, doesn't, when you're giving feedback. Okay.
So as for limitations, I'd say we do not really voice out what we really want to say, because in a way we're kind of scared of what the person will think of it, how will they react.
I don't want to hurt their feelings, because you so care about what they're feeling. Okay.
So hold all in.
Great. Very good. So the thing is, when collaborating with other animal types, and just for the purpose of time, I'll go past this, but I want you to think about, if you were to, as a lion, and if you used to give an advice to the owl, the monkey, or the golden retriever about how best to work with your style, what are your pet peeves? I want you to really think about that. And on your worksheet, you can add that, just some, self-reflection, and then, how might you need to tailor your style to work best with others or mixed group. So just some things for you to think about. And so in so doing, I wanted to, you guys have gone through the strengths. You all spot on, and you have the handout for that. So I won't go so much in detail about that. But again, the strengths of the controlling style. You take charge, you're determined. I tend to be great with time management because you're so result oriented. You're decisive and you're efficient. You definitely within the group is at some point, let's cut off the conversation, let's make a decision, right? Whereas you might have those golden retrievers, and even maybe sometimes they're out going off on tangent because they still want to discuss and they want to make sure they get everyone's point of view. So that's definitely the strength of the controlling style. Need to be a little bit more, need to improve and being a bit more sensitive because again, your style is very direct. And as was said before, it could come off as people say, you guys are just too bossy. And so maybe to tailor that so you don't come off as too over controlling. And because you're wired in that style to really want to just get result. Let's be task oriented. We tend to then miss important stuff and tend not to be good listeners. So we tend to be speaking before we're thinking usually in terms of the controlling staff. So just some things to be mindful of and to continue to work on in order to improve the way we lead, to improve the way we work with different people and different styles. For the promoting style, again, you guys have touched on, is very good in terms of your strengths, very goal driven as well, very creative and very imaginative, very enthusiastic. You're working on a project and you guys are the cheerleaders in the group, and really get, think outside the box. As Jarell had mentioned, they tend to be risk takers too, let's try something new. So what if it fails? We don't know. Let's try it. So that's good. They're the ones who are going to challenge those in the group, in terms of that. And so they tend to be the one you want to be on the front line when they are showcasing or promoting your group or your project to speak about it and to get others excited on board. You want to really tap into that strength of the monkeys in your group, the promoting styles. And again, Jarell was spot on in terms of to take more time to pay attention to detail and to really work on improving follow-up. And so that's where they can learn and partner with the owls to kind of help them out with that and to kind of hold them accountable to more of the follow-up, but knowing our strengths and capitalizing on that. And think about these different styles, identify those in the groups that you are. And these are also, we'll think about what duties and tasks might be best to delegate based on the styles. Okay, so I'll move quickly along. And again, we know the owls are the great planners in the group. They're facts that build on data and they're well organized. So they definitely bring an asset to a group. But again, they need to work on being more decisive and not be so overly detailed, okay? To balance that out. And the supporting style within the group. These are the ones that are very big team players. They're the ones in the group. They're very big on relationship, not just so task oriented. They tend to be the opposite of the line. And you definitely need the golden retrievers in the group. They're the ones who really see the need for team development, staff development. Let's do some activities so we get to know each other. Let's not just jump right into business and tasks, Let's see, they're the ones that will come to a meeting and they want to know, how are things going? How was your weekend? How was that? Did you have fun? To really use that time for the social before jumping right in to task and business. And we definitely need that in a group because sometimes you could just keep going and just so task oriented, you don't spend enough time to build those relationships within the group. So we definitely need our golden retrievers, to be a part of our team. Okay. And so they need to be what they need to work on. Because they're so big on relationship, not hurting people's feeling. They tend to avoid confrontation and not always say what's on their mind. So to work on being a little bit more assertive and also to work on sharing what your feelings are. How do you feel about a certain issue or decision or direction in which the group is going, you know, or if someone says something to hurt your feeling or someone else's feeling, to, you know, to address that. So they tend to avoid. So work on that within the group. Okay. All right. So now that you have a better understanding of what your leadership style is and how to work with others, what are the strengths of your style, what you need to work on. If you're in an interview setting, whether it's for a scholarship or a job, and you're asked, what is your leadership style? How would you respond to that? What would be your approach? And I want to provide you with some tips on that, okay? Don't you ever respond and say, I've never led anyone. Really not been a leader. I was not an officer. I was just a member. You don't want to say that. Because is leadership based on position and titles? No.
No.
Right? So never say that in an interview. What you're going to do instead is to think of an impressive leadership experience that you've had. Reflect back on that. It might have been that you're part of a team. It might have been a class project, a group project that you work on, okay? Or it might be a job that you've been in or stuff. Think of an experience that you've had where you had to be a part of a team and leading a project or a group, and reflect on that. And then, you know, and then you can share about that experience, okay? And then you go into sharing about your leadership style, what you bring to that, okay? So never say, I'm not really a leader, I'm not sure, never really led people in the past. That's a no-no, right? If there's anything you take away from this leadership series, leadership training, and applying what you've learned, is never to respond to that question if you're asked what your leadership style. But instead, what you're going to do, you want to come like you're self-aware of who you are, because now you are, right? You know your style, and you're going to share how you communicate and influence others that you work with, okay? So when you're asked about what is your leadership style, really what the interviewer wants to hear is that how do you work with others if you're put in a position to lead, right? So as opposed to I've never, you know, this is my approach to leadership. This is how I work within groups. This is how I lead a group. I tend to ... when I'm in a group. So here is, so share whether or not you tend to have a controlling, promoting, analyzing, or supporting leadership style in your response to that question. So I'm going to give you an example. Share a specific example if possible. Sometimes do you want to make sure you ask the interviewer, would you like me to provide you? Give you an example of a time when I have demonstrated the controlling leadership style or the supporting or the promoting leadership style. So let me give you an example. As I told you, I tend to have a controlling leadership style. I'm the lion. So if I'm asked this question, here's an example of how I would respond. I tend to lead from the front, and I'm willing to take initiative to be in control of a team by demonstrating what needs to be done and keeping my team organized to make sure we're all on the same page and contributing equally. Do you see that? Because sometimes one might perceive the controlling style to be negative, but this is how you phrase it. It's not negative, right? But lead from the front. I take initiative. I jump right in, you know, to control the team and to work with them so that we can have clear objectives about what needs to be done. I'm very decisive and result oriented. Do you see that? So incorporating the strengths, the behaviors of your leadership style. And then you might go, but I'm also mindful that at times I might need to work on, and I'm also mindful that there are the limitations of this style, and I will adjust accordingly based on the group that I'm working with. Do you see that? Now, is anyone would like to volunteer and share just a few, just to think about how you would respond to this question? What is your leadership style? Just take a minute or two just to think about that, and how would you respond? Want to give an example? As I said, this is my example.
Can I go?
Yes, go ahead, Victoria.
So I think I'll say I love to get people involved. I love to carry my team along with me and set an example by showing them, by doing it first, and carrying them along with whatever I do.
Great. And so how would you incorporate the promoting? Because you see, I kind of incorporate the control in that.
Yeah, getting people involved, like getting involved and bringing creative ideas to the table,
right,
and getting my fellow team members involved.
Great. And so you might end up to say, so my style tends to be on the promoting side. I tend to be of a promoting style, leadership style, right?
Yeah.
Very good. One more volunteer, and then we're wrapping it up. We're at the end of the session. Can I get another volunteer in terms of how you'd respond to what is your leadership style?
Yes. So my style is more analytical of thinking. So I tend to think about all the projects and the initiatives that need to be done, and I just organize it, and I make sure that everyone is completing their tasks to, I guess, to the fullest.
Great, that's good. Yeah, so great. I'm very, and then you highlight your strengths. So very good, Samaya. And and I'm very big on follow-up. I follow up with my team to check in when tasks are delegated to them to make to see how they're coming along. In terms of progress in working on the task or meeting the objectives of the group. Okay, very good. So I hope that was helpful for you to get a better understanding of your leadership style. What are the strengths, how you work with others, and to keep that in mind. So in closing, I just want to say, this is not absolute, okay? It's not that you're either a lion or you're a monkey, okay? There's no best or worst animal. It's in terms of what is our tendencies, okay? So again, this is not a way to diagnose anyone, and I want you to take away from this session to pay attention to your own behaviors when you're in a group, and then going back to your respective group, I want to think about who is in your jungle. Who might be the monkeys, the lions, and the golden retrievers and the owls in your group? Do you have those? What does your jungle look like, your team? Okay, or the animals that make up your leadership team. And then think about implications for team development and working as a team. So these are the takeaways from today's session about understanding your leadership style. And so I hope that was helpful. So at this time, are there any questions or comments? Okay.
Miss McIntosh?
Yes.
I didn't want to talk because monkeys, they like attention and they love to talk, and so
in this we want your attention. Go ahead.
First of all, I would like to thank you so much for this session. It's actually made me more understanding of other people, and I wanted to ask if we can get the presentation later.
Yes, I'm recording it, and I will send out a recording of it. And so yes, I will send that to you. The second handout, you probably didn't get to download. It has the strengths and the weaknesses, and there's some additional information about how to communicate with the different leadership styles. Okay, so I didn't go in detail about that, but it's on the second handout that's posted. And so Samaya and And Victoria, if you can post the links again, that will be helpful. And so I'll stop the recording.